Right, so we're starting off on Christian attitudes to poverty. So here we're looking firstly at some key words, some key Bible quotes, some key ideas, and reasons why people are poor and such things as that. Let's start off with our key words. First off, let's look at less economically developed countries. Less economically developed countries are countries where people are generally very, very poor, unable to take care of themselves to the extent that it's difficult to survive every day, or difficult to at least eat every day. Often the term that is used for extreme poverty is someone lives on $1 a day. Imagine that. So you had $36 for your month, and that's including food, shelter, support for your children, everything. So that's a less economically developed country where most people are in a circumstance where it's very difficult to get food every day, shelter's limited. If that's most of the population, that is a less economically developed country. A country such as in the Congo, that would be an example. Landlocked country, lots of heat, a lot of people struggling to get by, war-torn as well, so all those kinds of issues lead it to being less economically developed. More economically developed countries, somewhere like the UK, I'm an example of a person in a more economically developed country, so I'm very lucky. I have access to food. I ate about an hour ago. I have had access to an education like you have, that can get you on to achieve good grades in GCSEs, and in the future manage to get yourself a sustainable job. So you are in a more economically developed country, as am I, because our standard of living is generally quite comfortable, much more than $1 a day. We're probably on the upper end of the more economically developed countries, lucky us. The idea of world poverty, that's essentially saying, so our keyword world poverty is the idea that most of the world is under poverty. Most of the world is, most countries are less economically developed. Most people are struggling really to survive, struggling to eat each day, struggling to get the basic shelter to support their children. Child mortality rate would be very low. Children in particular would be very vulnerable. So these would be signs of these would be examples of world poverty. So if someone says world poverty, it's the idea that most of the world is in poverty. Justice, I mean, we've gone over this several times in our analogies, the J of the J pump. The idea that the world should be a fair and equal place. The idea that, good people should get good things, bad people should be punished, everybody should be treated equally, rich should not be rich for no reason, they should earn their money, the poor should not be poor for no reason, they should be able to have access to basic comforts, basic needs to allow them to survive. Charity, voluntarily giving yourself up for someone. So a charity such as Christian Aid, Muslim Aid, Oxfam, these are all examples of charities that give them some time up to help people in need. Anything that gives up any example of a group that gives up time to help people in need is an example of charity. An act of charity is when you voluntarily give up your time, give up your money, give up your possessions to help someone else. Emergency aid and long-term aid, these are two key ideas. So emergency aid is like an earthquake goes off in Haiti, a tsunami hits the Philippines. Immediately at that point, lives are at risk. We need to get lots of money into those places to save lots of lives. That's emergency aid. Now, okay, that's all well and good in those short periods of time, but what's going to happen in the long-term recovery process? Well, that's really what long-term aid is about. Long-term aid is about making sure that people can be sustained and support themselves over a long period of time. Oxfam uses this quote, "Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day." That's emergency aid. Teach a man to fish, he'll live for a lifetime because he can get fish every day. That's long-term aid. Oxfam tend to work with long-term aid. Christian Aid tend to work with long-term aid. They do emergency aid. Muslim Aid tend to work with Muslim aid. The Red Crescent, the Red and the Red Cross, they're often about quick relief. Islamic relief as well. It's about relief. Oh no, a big tsunami's hit me. Phew, Islamic relief are here to save me. Oh gosh, it's the Red Crescent, it's the Red Cross, they're here to save me, okay? So they are there to make sure they specialise in saving lives on those key moments. So there's our key terms. Less economically developed countries, which are more economically developed countries, which are world poverty, which is justice, charity, emergency aid, and long-term aid.